Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Family Treehouse, a podcast series brought to you by Storied, where I chat with people who have a passion for genealogy, storytelling, or both. I am your host, Heather Honert, and today I am very excited for you to meet Lillian Wingate. Lillian is the executive director at the Thomasville Genealogical Library. I'm jealous of your job, Lillian. And the former regional genealogy and local history coordinator at the Statesboro Bulloch County Library here in Georgia. She is a Boston University trained genealogist specializing in Georgia research and founded the Bulloch County Genealogical Society. Impressive. So welcome to you, Lillian. So excited to have you today.
Thank you.
Super excited. So tell me a little bit more. And sometimes I'm really bad, and I didn't mention this before we started, but sometimes I just go rogue and, ask questions. So tell me a little bit more about, I'm curious for people that, you know, if you don't have a genealogical society in your area, what does that entail? What did that look like for you when you did that?
To start with, I tried to partner with the Historical Society that was in town. It was very active. It been around for over 60 years, but they didn't really want to do anything together.
Yeah.
So I started at the public library asking people if they were interested, reaching out to friends, and kind of put together a meeting. It was something I was very passionate about. Um, I think I had at least 18 people for our first meeting because I rented out, a room in a restaurant. And we did kind of informal meetings for, gracious, 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
And we finally held one big meeting where it was a giant potluck, and we kind of were going to elect officers. And I was trying to be very much, who wants to do this? I'm happy to help. And they're like, well, you, of course. Um, and that was 2018, and I am still the president of the society. We had just gotten off the ground in 2020, and we had actually hosted the Georgia Genealogy Society, just started planning our meetings when COVID hit. That was
Yeah.
actually March of 2020. So I think that kind of put a little bit of a stop, but we have been doing Zoom meetings
Yeah.
for 5 years, and we actually have
Yeah.
more members in other states.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome.
So,
I think that if anything good came out of COVID, I think that's it. Like the ability for these small
mhm.
groups like this to have meetings, and you
Yeah.
can have speakers from everywhere, people joining from everywhere. So I think
Yeah.
that is a positive. So yeah, that's awesome.
It
Well,
it
good for
has
you.
kept many alive. For
Yeah.
some, it has had the opposite effect,
Has it?
sadly.
Yeah.
But it just depends if people are willing to go with the flow of technology.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, for sure. Well, I want to start by just kind of jumping in and asking you a little bit. How did you get started in family history? Where did that initial start come from?
It actually started from my mother.
Yeah.
She was a hobbyist genealogist. Some of my youngest memories are her taking me to the cemetery where her parents are and me
Yeah.
laying on the grave to give my grandmother a hug. And
Oh.
growing up, I did not want to be just like my mother.
Yeah.
So I studied history, and a lot of it was actually British history. My mother pointed out, you're just doing genealogy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, as much as I tried, I still turned into my mother. So,
Well, good.
um,
I love that. So did you have a lot of stuff that she kind of collected when she was working
yes.
on it? Yeah.
She had started, and so honestly, growing up, I didn't think I needed to work on mine because I thought she had done it
Yeah.
all. And I
Yeah.
think that's a common thought that many people have.
100%.
But once I got into it, I'll admit I've used a lot of her work as
Yeah.
examples of what not to do, not in
Yeah.
a rude way, but as a hobbyist.
Right. For sure.
Um,
Yeah.
but she is also one that she has kept incredible things. Like
Yeah.
she had a school project in first or second grade to do something like this. But again, that was 60 years ago, and it's got
Yeah.
the tape, the scotch tape on it that is
Yes.
all yellowed. But she was a child.
Right.
But it's great to have these things to use as examples to that her mother even helped her with.
Yeah.
She was lucky to know most of her grandparents and even some of her great grandparents, and all of my grandparents had passed away by the time I was born.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was very lucky to have that history and
Yeah.
those interviews that she had already done.
Yeah. I think that I love that you made the comment about people having that common misconception that, people get done with
Hmm.
genealogy, because that is, in my mind, never the case. There's always some new rabbit hole to go down. So, like, do you work on it sometimes now with your mom? Like,
Oh
I've met your
yes.
mom and she is
Oh
just
yes.
adorable. And so that's awesome. You
Yes,
pull together.
we each work on different things.
Huh,
We kind of share a family tree. Well, we do share the family tree, but for instance, if it's someone that I'm specifically working on, I might put a note, "Do not touch. I am playing with this" or something. So we try to work on at least different things, but we love getting together and showing the things we found that one of us may have missed, or we just
yeah,
haven't looked at it in a
yeah,
while.
yeah.
So.
Well, and I think it's good too that you have somebody to kind of bounce things off of, because I think
Mhm.
that's so many times how, brick walls can come down is you kind of gotten you're narrow-minded on one certain aspect, and to have somebody
Yes.
look at it a little differently
I love the
helps.
fact that she is incredibly open-minded, especially about things that may have been recorded incorrectly.
Hmm.
We'll both look them over and look at different
Yeah,
things. Um, and she is great at accepting that even though the story said this, we found
yeah,
records to the contrary,
yeah,
and this is pointing in a different direction.
yeah, yeah,
I,
which
I've
happens a lot.
Yeah, I've met some people that they've had a family story passed down and they won't let it go even
Yeah,
if things disprove it.
yeah.
And she's one of those that we are completely open to what we find.
Yeah, that's good. I think that's hard for
Hmm.
people when a story has been passed down and you
Oh yeah.
feel like, you've heard it your whole life and feel like that's, kind of the gospel, I guess I'd say. And then when you find out it's wrong, it's almost like a part of you is
It
not
is.
anymore.
It is. I actually do classes on that from stories that were passed down and how I've disproven them.
Yeah, yeah. That's great. Love that. Um, why do you think storytelling just in general is such a powerful part of family history?
I think that's the first beginning most people get into genealogy, whether they realize it or not.
Hmm.
Um, Working here now, I'm on a university campus, and so we've actually had a lot of students come in just to do their class photos
Hmm.
for the library, and they say, "Oh, I don't know much about this. I just know this story." And they start telling me a story about a grandparent or a great grandparent. I'm like, "Well, that's your family history. That's
Yeah.
where you start."
Yeah,
And they kind of look at me, and it's like the light bulb goes off. They didn't realize that they even knew that
yeah,
because it was just a story.
yeah,
But that's where so many people can get started.
yeah. And I think that, thinking back of all of the guests that I've had on the podcast, the number of people that's what jump started their passion for
Hmm.
family history. It was a story that,
Yeah.
they heard as a
And
child.
that's kind of I was in gracious, it was actually my fourth college, but one of the first classes we had to do a family history project.
Mhm.
And again, I knew most of my mother's, but I did not know my father's family history at all.
Yeah, yeah,
I only knew his parents' names
mhm,
and a story. And
yeah,
that's what kind of really got me started going in there. And it has taken me, gracious, over 12 years
yeah.
to go through, and I have only found three generations of his family, but it's
Wow.
taken that long
Yeah,
to document it.
yeah, yeah. Well, and I think that people, in today's age, I'm always surprised, and we know it because I feel like we, talk about it in our field and we're interested in it. But the number of people that don't know grandparents,
Hmm.
and definitely not grandparents, especially in younger generations, is always such a surprise to me. But I know
Yes.
that that is, definitely the case.
And there's so many times at my previous job I would ask coworkers, what are your grandparents' names? Grandma and grandpa.
Yeah.
or whichever name they did not even know their real name.
Yeah.
And
Right.
and
Well,
that
nicknames for
isn't
them. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Um, but also so many generations today, even if they do know their grandparents are so young, you're not going to find records for them.
Right.
And they have to be able to go backwards or
Right.
further
For sure.
back.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's hard, I get so into and excited about, I'm older, so, my grandparents and great grandparents are, you know, early 1900s. But they definitely don't know that time frame, the newer generation, and not able to I think what's the word I want to use, just conceptualize or understand that time frame is so
Right.
far removed
And
from them.
and I love coincidences. My great grandmother on my mother's side and my grandmother on my father's side were born in two different countries within 24 hours of each other.
We just talked. That is so. I've got goosebumps right now. Coincidence. We literally just talked about this in our water cooler at Storied yesterday, and I'm gonna have to find. There is a name for it. Like, there is a phenomenon, and it's like the birthday effect or something,
Okay. Yeah, I
that people in your family have similar birthdays, and it's
um
crazy.
so my father's birthday was the actual day that his grandfather had died. And my birthday is my great grandfather's birthday. And I found his application for citizenship and I loved it because I knew my father, but only for 8 years. So I know my
Yeah,
mother's family better, and I am the
yeah.
shortest one. But on my great grandfather's application, he was 36 and 5'2". And and I'm
Wow.
5 feet on a good day.
Yeah.
So it's like I finally found where I fit in.
Yeah, there's where you got it from. That's
Yeah.
great. I'm curious because this is something I always enjoy looking at passport applications, and I have never personally had any luck. Did did he have a photo on it with his
I
or
have
not?
not found a photo with his,
Yeah.
but I actually just last month finally found my grandmother's naturalization paperwork and my
Mhm.
great grandmother's. There were not photos attached to theirs, but there was for my great grandmother's husband,
Yeah.
her second husband. So I found that photo.
Yeah.
The women, it didn't seem to be as
Yeah.
many.
Yeah. Yeah.
But my great grandfather, his application was in Connecticut, but his naturalization papers I cannot seem to locate. And I've
Mhm.
still been kind of looking piece by piece for that
Yeah.
information. I'm hoping in the one of those good bad moments,
Yeah.
a good friend who I've never met, but a find a grave friend,
Yeah.
finally found his grave in Detroit, Michigan, and took a photo of it. And I was so excited because it had the Hebrew on the bottom as well.
Yes.
But it was also heartbreaking because there was a little oval where there used to be a photo of him in the grave, but it was gone.
No.
So I know a photo exists. Don't know if I can find it.
Have you checked not that it would be there, but I mean, maybe the interment records at the cemetery.
Because they were Jewish burials, they're buried usually the next day after they die. So they're not
Really?
family plots. They're all done kind of by year in
Just
consecutive
haphazard.
order. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
And it's a cemetery that there are over 30,000
Hmm. Hmm.
internments.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I was just at one of the historic ones here in Augusta over the weekend, and they actually it was very cool, huge. Same thing. There's probably 35,000 interments there, and they have some different sections for different things. I mean,
hmm
different. They have like one for Confederate soldiers, but they have at least two, if not three, I think, like especially, and the tombstones are all gorgeous, Jewish sections of that particular
hmm
um, cemetery, and it's old. I mean, that cemetery is over 200 years old, so it's pretty cool to see that. Tell us, Lillian, do you have any resources or tools? Somebody that's looking to start researching. I think people have that question a lot. I feel overwhelmed. where do I start? So what kind of resources or tools do you recommend?
Start talking to the older members of your family, but just start asking common questions.
Yeah.
What were their nicknames as children? What did they call their grandparents or aunts and uncles? Those nicknames could be names that are repeated further on, or you're going to see a pattern.
Yeah.
And you want to ask as many questions as you can while you can.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of people might say that everyone older is gone, but even so, they could have told their children or
Right.
their grandchildren. So reach out to family members. Um, I love actually, my mother's one of five and has four sisters. So
Mhm.
I will ask them separately questions and then put
Yeah.
them together and ask,
Yeah.
and they remember things differently. And so they'll
I
start
love that.
kind of correcting each other, like, no, that was so and so, not this person.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's a great idea. I love
So
that. That's a good tip.
And there are so many free recording apps on your phone
Yeah.
today that
Yeah.
you can simply record it.
Yeah.
Um, because in today's world, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how long people are going to be here.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
good to have those memories regardless.
Yeah. I think too, I love that you said your aunts because I do think people kind of get stuck on that road where they think they have to do just a direct line.
Right,
And I
right.
think it's amazing sometimes what that collateral line and those
Oh, yeah.
people can, you know, insight that they can give you is fabulous. So for
Um,
sure.
Working on
Lillian, what
collateral
kind of
lines has been
what
incredible for me.
yeah. Yeah, I think people it is such a discounted thing, and I think people just don't yeah, they just don't think it's important or they're not gonna find something that they need, and a lot of times that is a way to get answers, that you're looking for sure. Talk to me about what are some tips you have for people that want to write family stories? This is another thing I think people it's a daunting task that they're afraid to kind of write those stories. So, what kind of tips would you give for people wanting to write them?
Start out with, the reason you're wanting to put it together and try to figure out how you want to start and end it.
Yeah,
Because some people like to start with the oldest ancestor going down, some like to start with themselves going backwards.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so, as trivial as that might sound, that's a big starting step.
yeah,
Um, and I also think it's today, you see family history books in a variety of different ways. It's okay if it's a narrative.
yeah,
It's okay if it's a list.
yeah,
Um, there are so many AI platforms,
yeah,
including Storied, that
yeah,
can help you create these today.
yeah. Right.
But your biggest thing is you want to write it so that family members might look through it and read it. So if you try to make it too technical,
Hmm.
that might not be something that they're even interested in.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing I have found is include pictures.
Yes.
I have a family Facebook group called Family Ties that's a private group for my family.
Hmm.
And the best way I got them to interact was I digitized photos,
Yeah.
family photos, and then I would
Yeah.
share them in albums. And sometimes I had the wrong person labeled, so they
Yeah.
would correct me. I did wedding photo albums, family reunions, Christmas, and they all started sharing.
Yeah.
So include pictures because a picture is going to help you prompt those stories as well.
For sure. Yeah, that is a question we get a lot. I think about Roots Tech and people stopping by the storied booth, and that is one that people tend to ask because on platform there is the option to add media, so you could add, stories or newspaper clippings or whatever, and people are hesitant. They're like, "Well, do I have to add a photo?" And we always say, "That's the best part." That's what people, think of that, and kind of gravitate toward is that photo, and it does prompt a memory.
Right. And especially if you have so many names that repeat, family names, if you have a picture, even if it's of a house or
Yeah,
a vehicle, that helps you connect to that person.
for sure. Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
I've got some ancestors that I don't have a photo of them, but maybe I have their signature.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something like that. It's a visual that just helps you
Yeah.
connect to that person.
I love that idea. That's a great idea. Having a signature.
I'll do
Yeah.
that several times is do a screenshot of their signature
Yep.
and place that as the image for the person.
Love that. That is my favorite tip I've heard today. That's a good one. Good one. All right, so now comes the fun part. I love this part. If you could meet one ancestor, who would it be and what would you want to ask them?
I've thought about this one quite a bit.
And everybody's always to me, they're like, I only get to pick one?
Um, I think it would be my grandmother.
Yeah.
My father's mother, she was born in Ukraine.
Mhm,
Her father left when she was about 3 years old for America, and World War I broke out,
mhm.
and they were not allowed to leave the country. So she was there with her mother and sister for 10 years before they were able to immigrate to America. Um, so she came through Ellis Island, and they got here less than 1 month before the quota was put in and immigrants were stopped from coming in. So if
Wow.
they had been, I think, 3 weeks later coming in, they would have been turned around.
Oh
Uh,
my goodness.
they spoke mostly Yiddish,
Mhm.
so they had to learn English, but they were reunited with her father. Her mother
Oh,
had three more children, but he unfortunately died 7 years after they got here.
yeah. Oh,
But her sister-in-law was a Holocaust survivor. So I mean, but she did a lot. She traveled, she
mhm, yeah.
lived to be 88.
Wow.
Um, she was a remarkable woman.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I would have I've heard stories about
Yeah.
her,
Yeah.
and I have heard about her cooking. I wish I could have tried her cooking.
I love that this is to me, this is one of the best parts of what we do. Like I feel, and I think most of us do, there's always that one ancestor that we just feel like we have a connection to. And I love that. Do you have any recipes of hers?
I only have one that it was just like a comfort, and it was honestly as simple as just buttered noodles, but she would make
Yeah.
the noodles herself.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
So
Of course. Love that. Oh, well, I love this part too. So tell us what is a favorite story that you have uncovered while you've been researching?
Actually, kind of about my grandmother. Um, so again, I only knew my father for about 8 years before he
Yeah.
passed away, and he had told me that his mother was smuggled into America, that they did not come here legally, and that again, story that's kind of passed down,
Mhm.
and that she didn't speak English, and when she was being helped off the boat, she tried to thank the man who was helping her,
Yeah.
and he didn't understand her, so he just says, "I'm the steward on the boat." My father's middle name was Steward. Um, and again, so that was the story of how that
Yes.
happened. And since then, of course, I have found out she did come here very legally through
Yeah.
Ellis Island, everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, how my father got that middle name, I'm not quite sure. But he changed his full name when he was 18 because they were
Oh,
in one of the first Jewish bands signed to Motown. Um,
wow.
they tried out for Marvin, or excuse me, Barry Gordy, and
Yeah.
they were a mixed band. And he said, "You sound great. Come back in one color. I don't care which."
Yeah.
So they did some, alterations, and they wound
Yeah.
up. It was a high school group, and so he Americanized his name at that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But he went on to tour with the Temptations, the Jackson Fives, Supremes. Marvin Gaye played drums for them later.
That is amazing. Wow.
So, and
Oh,
and
pretty cool.
again, his middle name was Stewart.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it makes you wonder for sure.
Right.
And that's what, oh, I love that. That's a good one.
But that's what got me really looking into this, is that was the one story he had told me about
Yeah.
his mother.
Yeah. 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 I love those are always fun trying to figure those out. Well, Lillian, as we wrap up here, let's just, what one piece of advice, if you could give them one piece of advice, what would you tell people wanting to start in their family history?
Don't try to rush it. Do not try to do everything at once. It is a journey.
Yeah.
It's not a race at all.
Yeah.
I've been working on this for nearly 15 years now,
Yeah.
and I'm still finding little things.
Mhm.
Records are still being added and being digitized.
Yeah.
So just because you don't find the answer today doesn't mean you won't find it later.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I
Yeah,
love that. Yeah, it is definitely a journey. And like you said, I mean, I even think I've been working for probably 25 plus years. And I think about now the things I have access to that I didn't have 25 years ago. And you're right, things just
exactly.
they continue to be added, and even things that have been there. Like I just found a newspaper article last week that I had never seen before. So, there's always something to find.
Right.
It's one thing. So
And I'm so happy to volunteer sites, especially like Find a Grave and Billion
yes,
Graves.
yes.
Like I said, there is a gentleman who rides his motorcycle and just goes to fill photo requests, and he
Yeah.
has photographed nearly all of the memorials in Detroit, Michigan for my family.
Wow, that's
And
awesome.
that's the closest to an image I have for
Yes.
many of them. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
uh volunteer, even
Yeah.
if you're
Yeah.
not finding what you need, it will repay itself.
100%. I agree with that totally. That good advice for sure. Yeah, it's just that like good feeling I feel when, I've helped somebody that, couldn't do it for themselves. So for sure. Well, Lillian, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
It is always a pleasure talking to you. I love chatting with you, and I just feel honored that you spent time with me today. So thank you.
Thank you. It's
Until
been a
next time.
pleasure.
Yeah. Until next time, friends, embrace the power of your family's untold tales and embark on a journey of discovery. Let the ink flow and the words dance as you weave together the threads of your ancestors' lives. Start writing your family stories today and let their voices echo through the generations to come at story.com. Have a great day, everyone. And that brings us to the end of this episode of the Family Treehouse, where we celebrate the power of storytelling and preserving our family legacies. Storied is more than just a platform for sharing stories. Dive into those historical records and newspapers, discovering the hidden gems that bring your ancestors to life. Add branches to your family tree, connecting the dots between generations. Thank you for joining us on this storytelling journey. Your stories matter, and through Storied, they have the power to resonate across time and touch the hearts of generations to come. Keep uncovering your family's history and keep the spirit of storytelling alive with Storied.